Welcome back. Today we're diving deep into the fascinating world of United Kingdom 1 shilling coins. These small but mighty coins once played a huge role in British currency and are now highly sought after by collectors around the world. From rare mintages to unique historical variations, certain 1 shilling coins can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on condition and rarity. In this video, we'll uncover the top 10 most valuable 1 shilling coins in different conditions and explain why these pieces of copper-nickel history are worth far more than their face value today. So let's get started. First up, we're diving into the fascinating world of British coinage, and our focus will be on the United Kingdom 1 shilling coin from 1949. At first glance, this copper-nickel coin might look like just another piece of pocket change from post-war Britain. But when preserved in excellent condition, it becomes a highly desirable collector's item with real value in today's auction market, often selling for many times its face value in dollars. So, let's uncover the story, the rarity, and the market value of the 1949 1 shilling. The 1 shilling coin has a long and rich history in British currency. It was originally part of the pre-decimal system, where 20 shillings made up £1. The 1949 issue came at a very important time in British history, just a few years after World War II, when the economy was still recovering and Britain was beginning to modernize its coinage. By this year, shillings were being struck not in silver anymore, but in copper-nickel, following the 1947 decision to remove silver from circulating coins. The 1949 shilling reflects this transition and carries with it a story of economic change and resilience. The design of the 1949 1 shilling coin. The obverse of the coin shows the bare head of King George VI facing left. Below the neck truncation in small letters, the artist's initials for Thomas Humphrey Paget. Around, the monarch's legend, George VI G. Br. OMN. Rex. Translated from Latin, George VI, by the grace of God, King of all the Britons. The center of the reverse shows St. Edward's crown surmounted by the crown lion of England. Named after St. Edward the Confessor, the crown has been traditionally used to crown English and British monarchs at their coronations since the 13th century, with a 2-century gap between 1689 and 1911. The lion is walking to left, its head turned to face the viewer. Divided by the crown, the date of issue 1949. Within a beaded border, around above is the continuation of the monarch's legend FID Def, abbreviated from Fidei Defensor, Defender of the Faith. Around below, the denomination and the date of issue 1 shilling. This is the English shilling of the year. A Scottish shilling was also issued in 1949 with a different reverse. While millions of 1 shilling coins were minted in 1949, what makes this coin rare and valuable is not simply the mintage, but the condition. Most shillings from that period entered circulation and saw heavy use in day-to-day transactions. As a result, finding a 1949 1 shilling in excellent, uncirculated, or near-mint condition is quite difficult. Collectors are especially interested in high-grade examples with sharp details and full luster. Additionally, having both the English and Scottish varieties of the 1949 shilling is a goal for many collectors, which drives up demand for pristine pieces. So, how much is a 1949 1 shilling worth today? In average circulated condition, this coin might only be worth a couple of dollars, often just slightly above its face value. However, when we're talking about excellent condition coins graded as extremely fine, about uncirculated or mint state, the story changes dramatically. Depending on the specific variety and grade, a 1949 1 shilling can fetch anywhere from $256,000 at auctions, with rare high-grade specimens sometimes pushing even higher. Collectors in the UK, the US, and around the world are willing to pay premium prices for well-preserved examples, making this coin a small treasure. If you're interested in adding the 1949 1 shilling to your collection, here are a few tips. Always check whether the coin is the Scottish type, since some collectors prefer to build complete type sets. Condition is everything. Look for sharp details on the lion, the crown, and the king's portrait. Be wary of coins that have been heavily cleaned or polished, as this can reduce their collector value. Instead, aim for natural patina and luster. Finally, consider getting your coin professionally graded if you believe it is in excellent or uncirculated condition. as this can boost its credibility and market price. The United Kingdom 1 shilling of 1949 is more than just a coin. It's a piece of history that connects us to the post-war era, to King George VI, and to the story of Britain's changing economy. In excellent condition, it stands as a rare and valuable collectible, often worth many times its original face value in today's market. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or just starting your numismatic journey, the 1949 shilling is a coin that deserves attention and admiration. Next up, we are diving into the story of a fascinating coin from post-war Britain, the United Kingdom 1 shilling from the year 1949. Now, at first glance, you might think this coin is just an old piece of pocket change. However, even in circulated or rusty condition, this copper-nickel coin has an incredible history and a surprising market value among collectors today. So, let's uncover the background, the features, and the true worth of this 1949 1 shilling coin in the collector's world. The 1 shilling coin was part of the pre-decimal British currency system, circulating long before the UK switched to the decimal system in 1971. The year 1949 is particularly interesting, as it came during a time of economic recovery after the Second World War. The coin was minted under the reign of King George VI, the father of Queen Elizabeth II. Unlike earlier shillings, which were struck in silver, this coin was made of copper-nickel, a decision driven by the rising cost of silver and the need for more durable coins for everyday use. This change marked a turning point in British coinage, making the 1949 shilling an important piece of monetary history. The obverse of the coin shows the bare, uncrowned head of King George VI facing left. Below the neck truncation in small letters, the artist's initials for Humphrey Paget. Around, the monarch's legend George's 6D, G, BR, OMN, REX. Translated from Latin, George VI, by the grace of God, King of all the Britons. The center of the reverse shows the crown of Scotland surmounted by a crowned Scottish lion facing the viewer, holding both the scepter and the sword of state. The depiction is from the crest of the royal arms used in Scotland, which by long-standing tradition differ from those used elsewhere. To the left and right of the crown, the artist's initials KG for Kruger Grey. On the left, the shield of Scotland bearing the cross of St. Andrew. On the right, a thistle, the floral emblem of Scotland, its leaves raised to form the outline of a shield. Above these, divided by the lion, the date of issue 1949. Within a beaded border, around above is the continuation of the monarch's legend. FID Def abbreviated from Fidei Defensor of the Faith. Around below, the denomination 1 shilling. While millions of these coins were minted, the 1949 1 shilling has become increasingly harder to find in good condition. Circulated or rusty examples are still collectible because they represent a key transitional period in British coinage. For collectors, the historical importance of the coin, combined with the charm of the two distinct reverse designs, adds to its desirability. What really drives demand is the fact that many shillings were heavily used in circulation for decades, meaning that finding a well-preserved piece today can be quite challenging. Even circulated coins attract attention, especially among collectors who are completing a full set of George VI shillings. Now let's talk about the part everyone wants to know: the value. In today's collector market, a circulated or rusty 1949 1 shilling may sell for a modest amount, usually between $75,000, depending on the exact condition. However, coins in better condition, with less wear or strong detail, can fetch significantly more, often $135,000. And when it comes to uncirculated or rare mint condition examples, values can rise to over $165,000 at auctions. It's important to note that both the English and Scottish varieties can carry different levels of demand depending on collector interest, which can push the price even higher for scarce examples. If you're looking to add a 1949 1 shilling to your collection, here are a few tips. First, always check whether you have the English or the Scottish reverse design, as some collectors prefer one over the other. Second, inspect the coin closely for condition. Even a rusty piece can still hold value, but coins with clear details will always command higher prices. Third, consider storing your coins properly in coin flips or albums to prevent further damage, especially since copper-nickel alloys can easily tarnish over time. Finally, Keep an eye on auction houses and online marketplaces, as sometimes these coins show up in bulk lots, giving you the chance to pick them up at a bargain. The 1949 1 shilling coin is more than just a small piece of copper nickel. It is a symbol of Britain's resilience after the Second World War and a reminder of the days before decimalization. Whether in circulated, rusty condition, or in pristine mint state, this coin holds a special place in the world of numismatics. With its growing collector demand and its increasing market value in dollars, it proves that even the most ordinary-looking coins can turn out to be hidden treasures. Next up, we're going to explore a fascinating and often overlooked coin, the United Kingdom 1 shilling from 1951. At first glance, this coin might seem like just another piece of mid-20th century pocket change, but when you dive deeper, you'll discover that it carries both historical importance and collectible value. Even in fine condition, the 1951 1 shilling holds a respected place among British coinage, and in today's collector market, it can fetch impressive prices in dollars. So, let's break down its history, features, rarity, market value, and tips for collectors who are keen to add this coin to their collection. The year 1951 was a transitional period for Britain, as the nation was still recovering from the effects of World War II. During this time, the country was under the reign of King George VI, and his portrait appeared on many coins in circulation, including the 1 shilling. The shilling had been a long-standing denomination in British currency, valued at 12 pence, and played a major role in daily commerce. By 1947, Britain had officially switched from silver coinage to copper-nickel alloys, due to the rising cost of silver. Therefore, the 1951 1 shilling was struck in copper-nickel, marking a shift away from the earlier silver-based issues. This decision not only reflected economic necessity, but also signaled the modernization of British coinage. The 1951 1 shilling was struck in copper-nickel, giving it a distinct silvery appearance. On the obverse, the coin features the famous portrait of King George VI, designed by Thomas Humphrey Paget. His profile is depicted facing left, with the Latin inscription surrounding his bust, which translates to George VI, by the grace of God, King of all the Britons, Defender of the Faith, Emperor of India. On the reverse, the center of the reverse shows St. Edward's crown surmounted by the crown lion of England. Named after St. Edward the Confessor, the crown has been traditionally used to crown English and British monarchs at their coronations since the 13th century, with a 2-century gap between 1689 and 1911. The lion is walking to left, its head turned to face the viewer. Divided by the crown, the date of issue, 1951. Within a beaded border, around above is the continuation of the monarch's legend. FID Def abbreviated from Fidei Defensor Defender of the Faith. Around below, the denomination and the date of issue, 1 shilling. This is the English shilling of the year. A Scottish shilling was also issued in 1951, with a different reverse. The coin has a diameter of 23.5 millimeters and weighs approximately 5.65 grams. Its milled edge adds to its character and helps distinguish it from smooth-edged coins of other denominations. While the 1951 1 shilling is not as rare as some pre-war silver issues, it is still highly collectible due to its limited mintage and historical importance. By 1951, fewer shillings were needed for circulation compared to earlier decades, which means relatively lower numbers were struck. In addition, many coins from this era were heavily circulated, and finding examples in fine condition or better can be a challenge today. Collectors also prize this coin for being one of the last shillings issued under King George VI, as his reign ended in 1952 with his passing. This adds a sense of historical closure, making the 1951 shilling even more appealing to those who collect coins from specific reigns or transitional periods. Now let's talk about the most exciting part, the value. The 1951 1 shilling in fine condition typically sells for $126,000 in today's coin market. However, higher-grade specimens, especially those in extremely fine or uncirculated condition, can fetch anywhere between $250,000, depending on the variety English and the buyer's demand. At auctions, rare examples in brilliant uncirculated condition have been known to sell for even higher amounts, sometimes pushing past the $275,000 mark. While it may not be the most expensive coin in British numismatics, The 1951 one shilling remains a solid investment piece and a valuable addition to any serious collection. If you're looking to add the 1951 one shilling to your collection, here are a few tips. Be aware of the English and Scottish reverses and try to collect both versions if possible. Fine condition coins are fairly available, but better grades like extremely fine or uncirculated are harder to find and command higher prices. Always buy from trusted dealers, online auction houses, or certified coin shows to avoid counterfeits. Keep your coins in protective holders or albums to prevent wear, tarnish, or damage. Remember, even common-looking coins can turn into treasures over time when preserved well. The United Kingdom one shilling of 1951 is more than just a coin. It is a piece of post-war British history, representing economic transition, royal heritage, and cultural pride. While not the rarest coin in existence, its combination of historical significance, attractive design, and collector interest makes it a coin worth holding onto. In today's market, even in fine condition, it carries respectable value in dollars, and with patience and care, you might just find a high-grade example that could bring in a much larger return. Whether you are a seasoned collector or just starting your coin collecting journey, the 1951 one shilling is definitely a coin to look out for. Next up, we're diving into one of the most fascinating post-war British coins, the United Kingdom one shilling from 1951. At first glance, this copper-nickel coin may look like just another piece of change from mid-20th century Britain. But in fact, it carries with it a rich history, a striking design, and growing collector value, especially in extra fine condition. We'll explore the story of this coin, its unique design featuring the Scottish lion, why it's considered rare and sought after, and of course, the current market value in dollars. If you've got one tucked away in your collection, or even in a box of old family coins, you'll want to pay close attention. The year 1951 was a time of post-war recovery for the United Kingdom. Britain was slowly moving forward after the challenges of World War II, and the coinage of the period reflects both tradition and strength. The one shilling coin had two distinct designs in circulation, one representing England and the other representing Scotland. The coin we're focusing on today is the Scottish version, which proudly displays the Scottish lion rampant on the reverse. The one shilling had long been an important denomination in the British monetary system, equal to 12 pence, and it played a crucial role in everyday transactions until decimalization in 1971. The Scottish version, introduced in 1937 during the reign of King George VI, carried symbolic weight, representing Scotland's place in the United Kingdom. The 1951 edition continued this proud tradition. The 1951 Scottish one shilling coin is made of copper nickel, replacing the silver content that earlier coins once had. On the obverse, we see the portrait of King George VI facing left, surrounded by the Latin inscription Georgius Sixte Gratia Rex, meaning George VI, by the grace of God, King. On the reverse side, the Scottish design truly shines. At the center is the lion rampant of Scotland, standing on the royal crown, a symbol of power, courage, and heritage. Above is the motto Fide Def, short for Fidei Defensor, meaning defender of the faith. The date, 1951, is neatly split on either side of the crown, while the word one shilling encircles the bottom. What makes this coin special is not just the national symbolism, but also the sharpness of the detail in extra fine condition, where the lion, crown, and lettering remain crisp, with minimal signs of circulation. While millions of one shilling coins were produced during King George VI's reign, the 1951 Scottish issue stands out because of its relative scarcity in higher grades today. Many of these coins were heavily circulated in everyday use, which means finding an example in extra fine condition or better is significantly harder. Collectors around the world, especially those who focus on British pre-decimal coinage, place high demand on these coins. The Scottish lion design adds another layer of desirability since it represents a proud national emblem. With interest in mid-20th century coins growing in recent years, the 1951 one shilling is becoming increasingly attractive to both beginner and advanced collectors. Now let's talk about what everyone really wants to know: the value. In average circulated condition, the 1951 Scottish one shilling might only fetch a couple of dollars. However, the story changes dramatically when we're talking about extra fine condition. In today's collector's market, A 1951 1 shilling in extra fine condition can sell for $150,000, depending on the sharpness of the detail and overall eye appeal. Coins graded in even higher conditions, such as uncirculated or mint state, can command significantly more, sometimes reaching $167,000 or higher at auction. The value also increases if the coin is encapsulated and graded by a professional coin grading service. If you're looking to add a 1951 Scottish 1 shilling to your collection, here are some tips. Always look for coins with minimal wear, sharp details on the lion and crown, and clean surfaces. Be wary of worn or altered examples. Buying from trusted dealers or auction houses is best. Keep your coin in a protective holder to prevent scratches and environmental damage. Some collectors seek both the English and Scottish versions from the same year. Having the pair can add more value. Market values fluctuate, so keeping an eye on recent auction sales can help you know the true worth of your coin. The United Kingdom 1 shilling of 1951 with the Scottish lion design is much more than just an old piece of change. It's a coin that represents history, national pride, and the artistry of British coinage. In extra fine condition, it transforms from a simple collectible into a valuable treasure that can fetch impressive prices in today's market. Whether you're just starting your coin collecting journey or are a seasoned numismatist, this coin is one worth seeking out and preserving. So, if you happen to come across a 1951 Scottish 1 shilling in your collection, don't overlook it. It could be worth much more than you think. Next up, we're diving into the world of British coinage with a special focus on the United Kingdom 1 shilling from the year 1948. At first glance, this coin might look like just another piece of old money, but in the world of collectors, it tells a fascinating story about post-war Britain, royal symbolism, and a transition period in UK coinage. If you own one of these coins in fine condition, you may be surprised to know that its rarity and collector demand have made it worth far more than its original face value. So, let's explore everything you need to know about the 1948 1 shilling coin. The 1948 1 shilling coin belongs to an important era of British currency. It was issued shortly after the end of World War II, during the reign of King George VI, who was king from 1936 to 1952. At this time, Britain had abandoned the use of silver in its circulating coinage due to economic struggles and high demand for the metal. From 1947 onward, coins like the shilling were struck in copper-nickel rather than silver. The design of the 1948 Scottish shilling is particularly symbolic. It features the Scottish lion rampant, standing boldly on a crown. This design represented Scotland within the United Kingdom and was paired with an English shilling design, which carried the three lions of England. The decision to issue two versions each year, English and Scottish, gave both countries equal representation in the shilling denomination. This makes the 1948 Scottish lion shilling a culturally significant coin that highlights unity within the UK. The 1948 Scottish 1 shilling was struck in copper-nickel, measuring 23.5 millimeters in diameter and weighing 5.65 grams. On the obverse, you'll find the portrait of King George VI, designed by Thomas Humphrey Paget, showing the king facing left with the Latin inscription, Georgives 6D, G, BR, OMN, Rex Fidei Def, which translates to George VI, by the grace of God, King of all the Britons, Defender of the Faith. The reverse side is where the coin truly stands out. It displays the crowned Scottish lion standing upright, holding a sword and scepter, symbolizing Scotland's royal heritage. The inscription around the edge reads, FID, Def, IND, IMP 1 shilling, 1948, with FID Def, meaning Defender of the Faith, and IND IMP, meaning Emperor of India, although by this date, India had already gained independence. That makes this coin historically unique, as it still carried references to Britain's former empire during a period of dramatic political change. While millions of shillings were struck for circulation, not all have survived in collectible condition. Many were heavily used in daily trade, and those still around today often show significant wear. A 1948 Scottish shilling in fine condition is far less common than in worn circulation grade, making it an attractive piece for collectors who are building sets of King George VI coins or seeking the Scottish lion type specifically. Collectors also value this coin because it represents the first years of the copper-nickel era, marking the end of real silver and shillings. The combination of its historical symbolism, dual English and Scottish designs, and survival in better condition creates strong demand among numismatists. Now, let's talk about the market value. A 1948 Scottish 1 shilling in fine condition can fetch between $115,000 depending on appeal and demand at the time of sale. Coins in very fine to extremely fine condition can go higher, ranging anywhere from $125,000. Truly exceptional pieces in uncirculated or mint state condition are where the real value lies, often commanding $175,000 at auctions or from specialized dealers. While it may not sound like life-changing money, considering this was once just a small denomination coin worth 1/20th of a pound, its growth in value is impressive. And when combined with the historical significance, it becomes clear why collectors are willing to pay a premium for it. If you're looking to add a 1948 Scottish 1 shilling to your collection, here are a few tips. First, always check the coin's condition, as even small details like sharper lettering and less surface wear can make a big difference in value. Second, be aware of the difference between the English lion and Scottish lion shillings from 1948. Many collectors aim to complete a set with both. Third, consider purchasing coins from reputable dealers or auction houses to avoid counterfeits or misattributed coins. Lastly, proper storage is essential. Use coin flips or capsules to prevent damage, as copper-nickel coins can tarnish or corrode over time if not protected. The 1948 United Kingdom Scottish 1 shilling is more than just a small copper-nickel coin. It's a piece of British history, a symbol of Scotland within the UK, and a reminder of the post-war transition from silver to modern alloys. In fine condition, it already holds respectable value in today's market, and its importance among George VI-era collectors ensures that demand will continue for years to come. So, if you ever come across a 1948 Scottish lion shilling in your collection, or even tucked away in old family change, don't dismiss it. What was once worth just 1/20th of a pound is now a rare collectible valued in dollars, and it could be a small treasure hiding in plain sight. Next up, we're diving into the fascinating world of British numismatics, focusing on the United Kingdom 1 shilling coin from 1950. At first glance, this small copper-nickel coin might seem like everyday change, but in reality, it holds tremendous historical and monetary value for collectors around the world. Coins from this era, especially those in excellent condition, are highly sought after at auctions and among dedicated collectors, often commanding impressive prices in dollars. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just starting your coin collection, the 1951 shilling is a remarkable piece of history that deserves attention. The 1951 shilling coin belongs to the reign of King George VI, a period marked by post-war recovery in Britain. This coin is particularly notable because it features the iconic English lion design, which symbolizes courage, strength, and the enduring legacy of the British monarchy. Minted primarily in copper-nickel, the coin reflects the economic realities of post-war Britain, when precious metals like silver were reserved for higher denominations. The obverse side carries the portrait of King George VI, while the reverse features the crowned English lion standing proudly over a crown, a design that has fascinated collectors for decades due to its intricate artistry and symbolic significance. The 1951 shilling stands out for several unique features. Its copper-nickel composition gives it a distinct silvery sheen that resists tarnish, making coins in excellent condition exceptionally attractive. The English lion on the reverse is highly detailed, showcasing a muscular stance and meticulously engraved crown, which speaks to the high craftsmanship of the Royal Mint during this period. Another notable feature is the finely inscribed date and lettering, which remain clear and legible even after decades. Collectors often pay close attention to the sharpness of the details, as coins with more defined imagery are more valuable. While the 1951 shilling was minted in significant numbers, finding one in excellent or uncirculated condition today is quite rare. Many coins from this era were heavily circulated, resulting in wear, scratches, or fading details. Coins that have retained their original luster, with minimal signs of handling, are considered premium by collectors. This rarity drives high demand in the numismatic market. Serious collectors and investors recognize the historical and aesthetic value of the 1951 shilling, often competing at auctions to add such a pristine example to their collection. The value of a 1951 shilling coin depends largely on its condition. A circulated coin may fetch modest prices, typically ranging from $150,000. However, coins in excellent or near-mint condition can command significantly higher amounts, often selling for hundreds of dollars at auctions. Some exceptional specimens, especially those with perfect strike quality and minimal imperfections, have been known to reach $275,000 or more in international markets. The exact price can vary depending on rarity, demand, and auction venue, but there's no doubt that owning a 1951 shilling in top condition represents both a historical treasure and a valuable investment. If you're considering adding a 1951 shilling to your collection, here are a few tips. First, always check the coin's condition. Carefully look for sharp details on the lion and clear inscriptions. Second, be wary of cleaned or artificially polished coins, as these can reduce value. Third, purchase from reputable dealers or auction houses to ensure authenticity. Finally, consider storing your coin in a protective holder or capsule to maintain its condition, as even minimal handling can affect its long-term value. Collecting coins is both an investment and a passion, and preserving their quality is key to maximizing enjoyment and profit. The United Kingdom 1 shilling 1950 is more than just a piece of copper nickel. It's a symbol of British history, artistry, and numismatic heritage. Its unique English lion design, combined with its rarity and excellent condition, makes it a prized item for collectors worldwide. Whether you're drawn to its historical significance, its investment potential, or simply its beauty, this coin is a remarkable addition to any collection. Next up, we are diving into the fascinating world of British numismatics with a spotlight on the United Kingdom 1 shilling 1950 coin. At first glance, this modest copper-nickel coin might seem like ordinary pocket change, but for collectors, it represents a rare and highly sought-after piece of history. Coins from this era, especially in very fine condition, have become a symbol of prestige among collectors worldwide. The United Kingdom 1 shilling coin, sometimes referred to as a bob, was an essential part of Britain's pre-decimal currency system. Minted in 1950, this coin was issued during the reign of King George VI, a monarch remembered for his leadership during World War II and the post-war recovery period. The coin was struck in copper-nickel, a material introduced after World War II to replace the traditional silver alloy due to economic constraints. Measuring 23.5 millimeters in diameter and weighing 5.65 grams, the 1950 shilling was widely circulated, appearing in pockets, cash registers, and savings jars across the UK. Despite its everyday use at the time, surviving specimens in very fine or uncirculated condition are now increasingly rare. The 1951 shilling coin has several distinguishing characteristics that make it particularly attractive to collectors. On the obverse of the coin shows the bare head of King George VI facing left. Below the neck truncation in small letters, the artist's initials HP for Humphrey Paget. Around, the monarch's legend, George's 6D, G, BR, OMN, REX. Translated from Latin, George VI, by the grace of God, King of all the Britons. The center of the reverse shows the crown of Scotland surmounted by a crowned Scottish lion facing the viewer, holding both the scepter and the sword of state. The depiction is from the crest of the royal arms used in Scotland, which by long-standing tradition differ from those used elsewhere. To the left and right of the crown, the artist's initials KG for Kruger Grey. On the left, the shield of Scotland bearing the cross of St. Andrew. On the right, a thistle, the floral emblem of Scotland, its leaves raised to form the outline of a shield. Above these, divided by the lion, the date of issue, 1950. Within a beaded border, around above is the continuation of the monarch's legend, FID Def, abbreviated from Fidei Defensor Defender of the Faith. Around below, the denomination, 1 shilling. Although millions of shillings were minted during this period, coins that have survived in very fine condition are now scarce. Over the decades, countless coins have been lost, damaged, or worn down from circulation, making pristine examples highly desirable. Collectors are particularly drawn to the 1950 shilling for its historical significance, its connection to King George VI, and its role in the transition period before the decimalization of British currency in 1971. Auction houses and coin dealers report steady interest in this coin, and demand continues to rise among both UK and international collectors. Its rarity in very fine condition ensures that it is no longer just a coin, but a collectible treasure. The market value of a 1950 United Kingdom 1 shilling coin in very fine condition can be surprisingly high. Depending on the exact grading, provenance, and market conditions, these coins can fetch anywhere from $25,100 in private sales or auctions. Coins in extremely fine or near uncirculated condition can command even higher prices, sometimes approaching $75,200 or more. Collectors seeking a solid investment in historical British coinage often prioritize this coin because of its limited availability and enduring appeal. For those looking to add a 1951 shilling coin to their collection, there are a few important tips to keep in mind. First, always verify the coin's authenticity and condition, ideally through a reputable dealer or grading service. Pay attention to the coin's surface, luster, and edge quality, as these factors greatly affect its value. Avoid coins that show heavy wear, corrosion, or damage, as they are significantly less valuable. Additionally, research auction trends and historical sales data to ensure you are paying a fair price. Finally, consider storing the coin properly in a protective case or coin holder to preserve its condition and long-term value. The United Kingdom 1 shilling 1950 coin is more than just a piece of metal. It is a window into Britain's post-war history and a testament to the enduring appeal of collectible coins. Its unique design, historical significance, rarity, and steady demand among collectors make it a valuable addition to any numismatic collection. If you are lucky enough to find one in very fine condition, it could be a small but shining gem in your coin collection and potentially a sound investment in dollars. Next up, the United Kingdom 1 shilling coin from 1947, particularly in circulated fine condition. At first glance, this coin may look like an ordinary piece of old money, but when you dig into its history, composition, and collector demand, you'll realize it holds far more than just face value. In fact, even in circulated condition, this coin is considered a collectible treasure, especially for those who appreciate the first generation of post-silver British coinage. So, let's take a deep dive into the 1947 1 shilling and uncover why it remains such a sought-after coin in today's market. The year 1947 was a pivotal one in the history of British coinage. Prior to this date, shillings along with other British silver coins were minted with real silver content. However, due to post-war economic struggles and rising silver prices after World War II, the British government made a historic decision. From 1947 onwards, all shillings were struck in copper-nickel instead of silver. This marked the end of centuries of silver coinage in the UK. The 1 shilling was an important denomination at the time, equal to 12 pence, and making up 1/20th of a pound sterling. The 1947 issue carries the portrait of King George VI, the monarch who guided Britain through the war years. These coins circulated widely across the UK and its colonies, making them a tangible link to Britain's post-war economic recovery. The 1947 1 shilling comes in two distinct designs, one for England and another for Scotland. This dual design approach was a unique feature that added variety to the shilling series. On the obverse side, you'll find the dignified portrait of King George VI, facing left, surrounded by the Latin inscription Georgievs 6D, G, BR, OMN, REX, which translates to George VI, by the grace of God, King of all the Britons. The reverse design, the Scottish shilling, depicts a crowned lion seated on a shield of Scotland with a crown above. Both designs highlight Britain's rich heritage and unity under the monarchy. The coin itself is struck in copper-nickel, giving it a durable silvery appearance that still holds up remarkably well, even after decades of circulation. While the 1947 1 shilling was minted in large numbers, its significance lies in being the first year of issue in copper-nickel after the end of silver coinage. This historic shift makes it highly collectible. Collectors often seek out 1947 shillings not just as a piece of currency, but as a representation of a turning point in British monetary history. Coins in circulated fine condition, like the one we're focusing on today, remain affordable compared to uncirculated or proof versions, but they are still very desirable for beginner and intermediate collectors. The rarity also comes into play with coins that have survived in good condition despite heavy circulation. Many examples show considerable wear, so finding a coin with clear details and less surface damage significantly increases its appeal. Now let's talk about the market value. A 1947 1 shilling in circulated fine condition generally sells for around $128,000, depending on whether it's the English or Scottish type and the overall eye appeal. However, coins in higher grades, such as extremely fine or uncirculated, can sell for much more. In auctions or specialized sales, pristine examples can fetch anywhere between $166,000 and even higher if they are slabbed and graded by professional services. While these coins might not reach the thousands like some rare pennies or sovereigns, their historical importance and steady collector demand ensure they continue to hold a solid position in the numismatic market. If you're interested in collecting the 1947 1 shilling, here are a few tips. Look for both types, English and Scottish shillings, to complete a set. Even small details like the clarity of the lion, the crown, and the lettering can make a big difference in value. Store your coins properly in acid-free holders or capsules to prevent further wear and tarnishing. Buy from reputable dealers or auction houses to avoid counterfeits or coins that have been harshly cleaned. While fine condition coins are affordable, higher grade examples will always appreciate more in the long run. The United Kingdom 1 shilling 1947 in circulated fine condition is more than just a piece of old currency. It's a historical artifact that represents the end of Britain's silver coinage and the beginning of a new era in money-making. Its dual design for England and Scotland, coupled with its strong demand among collectors, makes it an essential coin for anyone building a UK collection. While it make you rich overnight, its steady market value and undeniable history ensure that this coin will always hold a special place in the world of numismatics. Next up, we are diving into one of the most fascinating pieces of British numismatic history, the United Kingdom 1 shilling coin from 1947. At first glance, it may look like an ordinary coin, but for collectors, it holds significant historical importance, unique features, and a solid place in the rare coin market. Even in fine condition, this 1947 shilling has become a valuable collectible, with strong demand and surprising auction prices in dollars. So, let's uncover the story behind this coin and why it continues to captivate collectors worldwide. The 1947 1 shilling coin marks an important turning point in British coinage. Prior to this year, British coins contained real silver, usually 50% silver content. However, in 1947, due to rising costs and post-war economic challenges, the Royal Mint made the decision to remove silver entirely from circulating coins. Instead, the 1 shilling was struck in a copper-nickel alloy. This makes the 1947 issue historically significant because it was among the very first batch of shillings minted without silver, marking the end of an era in UK coinage. The coin also reflects the difficult economic climate of post-war Britain, when every resource mattered and changes had to be made to stabilize the economy. The 1947 1 shilling carries some striking and distinctive features. On the obverse, you will find the portrait of King George VI, who reigned from 1936 to 1952. His left-facing effigy is surrounded by the Latin inscription Georgius 6d. G. Br. Omen. Rex, which translates to George VI, by the grace of God, King of all the Britons. The reverse design depends on the variety. The English version features a crowned lion standing atop a crown. These designs, filled with regal and heraldic imagery, give the coin a bold and powerful appearance. Its copper-nickel composition gives it a silver-gray look, making it stand out from earlier silver issues. Although millions of these coins were minted, finding them today in fine or better condition is increasingly rare. The fact that they were struck in copper-nickel means they were prone to heavy wear and tarnishing during circulation. Collectors are especially interested in coins that retain sharp details on King George VI's portrait and clear designs on the reverse. Because it marks the first year of the no-silver coinage, the 1947 shilling holds a special place in collections and is often seen as a key transitional piece in British currency history. Demand for these coins has grown steadily, especially from collectors outside the UK who value both its historical importance and unique design. Now, let's talk about the value. In fine condition, a 1947 United Kingdom 1 shilling typically sells for a modest amount, often between $145,000 depending on the variety and demand. However, coins in much higher grades, such as extremely fine or uncirculated, can fetch significantly more. Collectors have been known to pay $259,000 or even higher for pristine examples, especially if they have strong luster and minimal marks. Auction results over the years have shown that demand pushes prices up when high-quality specimens appear, making this coin a rewarding find in the right condition. If you're considering adding a 1947 shilling to your collection, here are a few tips. First, always pay attention to condition. The sharper the details and the fewer scratches or discolorations, the more desirable the coin will be. Second, be aware of the two varieties, the English and Scottish reverse designs, as many collectors prefer to own both. Third, store your coins properly in a protective holder to prevent further wear or tarnishing. Lastly, always check reliable auction sites, coin shows, and certified dealers when buying or selling, as this ensures authenticity and fair pricing. The 1947 United Kingdom 1 shilling is much more than just a small piece of change. It represents a turning point in British coinage, a reflection of the post-war economy, and a collectible treasure for enthusiasts around the globe. While it may not be worth a fortune in fine condition, its historical importance, unique features, and growing collector demand give it a special place in the numismatic world. Whether you're an experienced collector or just starting out, this coin is a must-have for anyone who appreciates the story that every coin carries. Next up, we're going to take a closer look at a fascinating piece of British coinage. The United Kingdom 1 shilling coin from 1948. At first glance, it may appear to be just another piece of post-war currency, but this coin carries a rich history, a unique design, and a strong presence in today's numismatic market. Even in circulated condition, the 1948 1 shilling made of copper nickel is gaining more attention among collectors and investors because of its historical value and growing rarity. If you have one of these coins sitting in your collection or tucked away in old change, it could be worth far more than its original face value today. The 1 shilling coin has long been an important part of British currency, traditionally valued at 12 pence before decimalization. The 1948 issue belongs to the reign of King George VI, who was on the throne from 1936 until 1952. This particular year falls into the immediate post-World War II era, a time when Britain was still recovering from the devastation of war. The country had moved away from using silver in everyday coinage due to cost and economic strain, replacing it with copper-nickel alloys. The 1948 shilling is therefore not struck in silver, but its historical context as a post-war coin adds to its significance. It represents resilience and adaptation during a difficult period in British history. The 1948 1 shilling is struck in copper-nickel, giving it a strong silvery appearance despite the absence of actual silver. The coin weighs around 5.65 grams and measures 23.5 millimeters in diameter. The obverse side of the coin carries the portrait of King George VI, designed by Thomas Humphrey Paget, with the inscription Georgievs 6D, G, BR, OMN, Rex F laughing face, def. These details not only make the coin visually striking, but also historically valuable, as they highlight Britain's unity of nations within the United Kingdom. The center of the reverse shows St. Edward's crown surmounted by the Crown Lion of England. Named after St. Edward the Confessor, the crown has been traditionally used to crown English and British monarchs at their coronations since the 13th century, with a 2-century gap between 1689 and 1911. The lion is walking to left, its head turned to face the viewer. Above the lion's tail in small letters, the artist's initials K.G. Kruger Gray. Divided by the crown, the date of issue 1948. Within a beaded border, around above is the continuation of the monarch's legend, FID Def IND MP, abbreviated from Fidei Defensor Indii Imperator Defender of the Faith, Emperor of India. Around below, the denomination and the date of issue 1 shilling 2 Tudor roses before and after the denomination, which were not present in the pre-1937 design, mark the coin as the English shilling, of the year a Scottish shilling was also issued in 1948, with a different reverse. While the 1948 shilling was minted in relatively large numbers compared to earlier silver issues, not many of these coins have survived in good condition. Most circulated heavily in the 1950s and 1960s, which means that finding examples in well-preserved condition can be challenging. Even in circulation grade today, the coin still attracts strong interest because collectors are eager to complete their George VI shilling sets. The fact that there are two distinct versions, the English and the Scottish, makes the 1948 issue more appealing. Many collectors aim to own both varieties, and those in better grades quickly fetch higher prices. As time goes on, circulated examples are becoming scarcer, driving up demand in the numismatic community. When it comes to value, the 1948 1 shilling in average circulated condition typically sells in the range of $95,000 depending on overall wear and appearance. However, coins that are better preserved, even if still circulated, can command between $150,000 in auctions or private sales. Uncirculated or mint state examples, which are far harder to find, can reach $275,000 depending on the variety and quality. Collectors are increasingly willing to pay strong prices for coins that stand out, especially with well-defined details and little damage. This makes the 1948 shilling not just an affordable entry-level coin, but also a potentially valuable piece for serious investors. If you're interested in adding a 1948 1 shilling to your collection, there are a few things to keep in mind. First, always check which version you have, the English or the Scottish reverse, since some collectors are willing to pay more to complete the set. Secondly, examine the condition carefully. Look for coins with sharp details on the lion or shield, minimal wear on King George VI's portrait, and limited scratches or discoloration. It's also wise to purchase from reputable dealers or auction houses to avoid counterfeits or misattributed varieties. Finally, remember that coins in protective holders or graded by professional services will hold their value better over time. The United Kingdom 1 shilling 1948 is more than just an old coin. It is a piece of history that reflects the post-war resilience of Britain and the evolving world of coinage. Its copper-nickel composition, distinctive designs, and historical significance make it a must-have for collectors of British currency. Even in circulated condition, it carries notable value in today's market, often selling for much more than face value. As time passes, demand for George VI coinage continues to grow, ensuring that the 1948 1 shilling will remain a treasured collectible for years to come. So, if you come across one in your collection or pocket change, don't overlook it. It might be worth more than you think. Thank you for joining us today, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more videos on rare and valuable coins from the UK and around the world. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting.